Monster Movie Media presents.
Welcome to Creepy Days. And from this point forward, Creepy Days has transformed into another being. What started off as a countdown to Halloween has been transformed into a very detailed and elaborate look at all the amazing Halloween events that have been taking place this year. This coverage will extend past Halloween into November. So that's right, Creepy Days will go on until November. One of the highlights I'm most proud of is that we are going to have coverage of the Halloween festivities from every single Disney park in the world. That don't mean I went on Google and saw what they were doing. We're going to have first-hand accounts. So we have that and many more amazing, fun Halloween activities that myself and some of our future guests have experienced. There may not be time to experience it all this year, but at least you'll know about it and learn about it and get ready for it next year. Because around here in the Creepy Kingdom, Halloween is year-round. Coming up in this episode, we take a look at the Halloween festivities that took place at Six Flags Magic Mountain, known as Fright Fest. Greetings, creepy fans. Creepy fans, I don't know. Creepy Kingdom fans, I don't know what's going on. Anywho, I am joined by Miss Shannon McGrew.
Hello.
From nightmarishconjurings.com. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me again.
My pleasure.
We are in a hotel room right now.
Yes, and
sitting across from each other.
Not just any hotel room. We are in Orlando, Florida, at the beautiful Cabana Bay
Resort and Spa.
Resort and Spa. Is there a spa here?
Actually, I don't think there's a spa here.
Anywho, and we are in this hotel right when Hurricane Matthew just crept through about less than 24 hours ago.
Yep, we survived. We're intact.
We survived. We couldn't leave the hotel, but other than that, everything was fine here at Cabana Bay. We've had a fine time here. It's if I had to get stuck anywhere,
this would be the place.
Yeah. I could probably think of a few other places, but this is still pretty... I'm happy to be here. Let's just say that. But we're not here to talk about hurricanes and like that. This is Creepy Days, and we're going to talk about haunted attractions. Haunts, for those in the know. And, myself and Shannon have done a handful of them in Southern California so far this year.
Yes, we have.
Shannon has reviewed them.
That I have.
On Nightmarish Conjuring. So she's going to talk about them, and I'm going to express my opinions as well. And I know that all our listeners are not in Southern California, but, if you're going to go on a trip to visit someplace for Halloween,
Southern California is the place to be.
Yeah, I mean, why not, And, one of the things we want to do, I want to talk more about haunts on the show to kind of introduce the idea to the Creepy Kingdom listeners, for those listeners that are not into haunts or thinks that they're not ready for it. There's a lot of really awesome things out there to enjoy if you like the dark, creepy stuff that aren't that are not as extreme as you might think, I guess. So we're going to start off talking about Six Flags Fright Fest.
Woo!
Now, Fright Fest is probably different at every Six Flags.
Yes.
And I don't even know if they have Fright Fest at every Six Flags.
I think they do. But don't hold me to that.
All right. Well, that's irrelevant. But it's not the same thing. So you might have a Six Flags near you and think that we're talking about that. But that's not the case. So we went to Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California. And this is the first time that Shannon went there.
Yes.
And I had not been there since I was a teenager, so over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I barely remembered it. And I'm sure it has changed quite a bit in 20 years.
There's a lot of hills.
It's a mountain. It's a magic mountain.
I didn't realize that it was literally a mountain.
Yeah, they don't just call it that for no. They're just calling it for the who of it. For the who of it. I don't know what that means. But I will say, though, one of the things I was looking forward to this evening, because Six Flags generally doesn't have any like intellectual property type houses. They're all original houses, if you will. But they had advertised a Suicide Squad Expeirence.
It was an experience.
So I thought I was looking forward to that. I thought that'd be really cool. I didn't really say what that was. You didn't know what it was going to be, but I figured that I would have a chance to meet Harley Quinn. I mean, I figured that would be the case.
And your dream came true.
Well, spoiler alert, jeez.
We don't know if his dream came true.
But anywho, but we went, I believe we did everything, right? Did we miss anything?
No, we did everything. We did do everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it.
All right.
So the first maze, it wasn't a house.
No, it is. It's called Aftermath 2: Chaos Rising, and I believe it's the longest maze that Six Flags has ever had, and it was long. It was. It definitely.
Really?
Would take like almost 10 minutes to get out of there.
Really?
Maybe not 10 minutes.
I didn't
like
feel like it was
5.
long.
I did.
They said it was the longest house.
Yeah, it's the longest. It's the longest one that they've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah. So essentially, the synopsis is chaos reigns as renegades threaten to overtake the city and release a deadly virus. ... There were zombies. I think there were demons.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what's going on there. I was outside though. There wasn't like a roof, right?
Right.
And there was fire.
Yeah, there was some really cool pyrotechnics, and the set design was really, really good. The scare actors were really interactive, maybe a little too interactive. A few people were getting yelled in their faces, and unless you're going to be doing something that's considered extreme-ish, you may not want to be screamed at in your face up close and personal.
Right.
But overall, it was definitely, it was fun, and I enjoyed going through it.
I thought it was a decent way to start the evening. There was one part where I found myself alone, and I wasn't quite sure. Like, I went off the path of where you're supposed to be walking, and unintentionally, of course. And I stubbed my toe, and I was like, I feel like there needed to be a clear, direction there.
I actually think that's been a theme in a lot of haunts where, that I've seen this year, where there hasn't necessarily been a defining path that you have to follow, and it makes things really confusing. And in that maze, I think that was one of the biggest hindrances, because there were times where nobody knew where they were supposed to go.
And there was one time where they, quote unquote, separated us.
Yes.
But it was just like around different debris. Like, it was the same area.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand the point of that.
No, I think, Six Flags is trying. They're just not necessarily there yet, but they're trying.
Right. Well, to be clear, when we have to say that we're talking about Magic Mountain, because Six Flags as a company is like so much different things, right? And they all do different Fright Fest. So yeah. So we'll just be clear on our opinion. We're talking
right. The maze itself had definitely a lot of potential, and at the end of the day, we did enjoy going through it. And there's a lot of scare actors, a lot of places for them to hide. So it was definitely interesting.
Yeah. It was a good place to start. So let's move on to our next house that we did.
All right. So the next house is Willoughby's Resurrected. And the synopsis of this one was, there's a hair-raising terror around each nightmarish turn and dreadful screams down the long, twisting hallways.
That is the most vague, non-descriptive synopsis I've ever heard.
Yeah, pretty much.
They should have been a little bit more specific on that one.
Yeah, this one, coming from a design standpoint, was probably one of the best designed haunts that Six Flags had. Overall, this one was just, above and beyond what else was at Six Flags, from the designs to the scare actors to adding in an interactive beginning. It was all around. It was a really solid maze. Yeah,
and it was very heavily influenced, if it wasn't, they're lying, by the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like an old Haunted Mansion, for lack of a better phrase. I mean, it's what it was. And so it was fun to walk through. You really felt like you were in these spaces, and it kind of set a little bit of a high precedent for the other houses that we were going to be experiencing, which may or may not have been met. but overall, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun to walk through. There's not much else more to say about it besides that. I mean, it was a great house. I mean, the attention to detail was definitely top notch. There were some areas that needed to be worked on due to the beginning having kind of an interactive element. You have the choice of picking something up when you exit, and I think that if they had moved that to a different area, there wouldn't have been such a backup. Yeah, it was like a bottleneck there. Yeah. But overall, I think it was definitely one of the best mazes at Fright Fest. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Cool. Yeah. I think that this was my number 3. All right. I think this was my number 2. Yeah, we're only going to do our top 3. We're not going to read them all because that's boring. All right, so let's move on to the next one. This one was Willoughby's Garden of Darkness, and the synopsis was, dare to roam the haunted gardens of the Willoughby family. Their dense labyrinth of man-eating plants and evil apparitions is no playground for the faint of heart. Okay, so this was the garden. So you're like, oh, cool. This is like part of their grounds, right? So it's going to be just as cool, right? Yeah, no. This one was... there was just a huge or an immense amount of lost opportunity here. They could have done so much. I've done multiple haunts that have had a dark or evil garden theme. Mm-hmm. One of my favorites is at Busch Gardens and for Hollow Scream. And you can Tampa. Yeah, in Tampa, yeah. Busch Gardens. Yes, but I think they did one in Virginia as well, but I'm not sure. This was just a maze with it looked like garbage bags. I mean, I'm not going to... Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it was supposed to be, but it really seemed like... It was supposed to be like foliage, and that was it. There was no other designs. And granted, I did get startled a few times because scare actors are hiding within the foliage. But it was just kind of like a cheap scare tactic. Yeah, no, I didn't think this one was fun at all. I mean, I think it was just constant startling, which is just annoying, and in my opinion. And then there was one particular incident where I wasn't startled by a scare actor, and so I had no reaction to his movement, and I walked past them and went about my business, and he came up behind me and screamed in my ear. Yeah, that's never good. And I'm just like, that's not going to work for me, bro. We're just not going to do that. Yeah, I'm just yeah. You didn't get me, accept the loss and move on to the next person. Yeah. So that one was, it was just pretty bad, Yeah, I mean, if you're pressed for time and you have to skip a maze, I definitely would skip this one. There's just no, there's
There's no reason to go through it.
I was waiting to see what the end of that sentence
Yeah,
was
no,
be.
there's no reason to go through
There's
it.
no reason. It was like, just no what?
No, there's no reason.
All right. What's our next one?
Our next one is the Chupacabra. So synopsis is you get to come face to face with this elusive, bloodthirsty creature as it terrorizes a local Dia de los Muertos festival.
Oh, there was a festival going on in
Yes.
that haunt? I missed that one.
I really wanted to love this haunt. I love the urban legend of the Chupacabra. I think it's really fascinating. So I was kind of excited going in. I didn't hate this one. I didn't love it. One of my main concerns was the use of fog. I don't have a problem with fog. I think it's great, but I have a problem with fog when you literally cannot see anything in front of you.
Yeah, I was going to say, all I remember about this is that I think you were in front of me on this one. I was just following you, right? Because I was like, I don't know where we're going or what we're supposed to be doing. I don't know how anyone could have seen it. The scare actors or
no, and you know, if somebody has a handicap, that could be really dangerous or difficult.
What do you mean by a handicap? What kind of handicap?
Like anything. If you're in a wheelchair, if you have a walking cane, if you have anything, if you can't see where you're going, that's going to be a huge hindrance.
Well, do they usually actually put wheelchairs through haunts, or are they handicapped accessible in that way?
It depends. I know at Halloween Horror Nights you can go through some of the mazes in wheelchairs.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if Fright Fest is up to code and is ADA compliant. I have no idea. But
why not?
Yeah,
I don't know. You brought it up. I thought you were an expert.
I mean, I think the thing is this haunt. Well, I mean, with the fog, I actually ran into one of the scare actors, or the scare actor ran into me, and that was due to all the fog. And I think had they put in a little bit more effort, this could have been a really cool haunt. Because, like I said, the legend of the Chupacabra is really fascinating, and you know, it's a lost opportunity.
Yeah, I thought this was okay. I liked when I did see the scare actors. I liked the look they had, you know, and there was an incident. There's a part where I guess you're supposed to be close to the creature, and you hear the creature.
Yeah,
and the way they did that, I thought was actually pretty cool because
they had some cool stuff. I mean, you know, one thing I will give Six Flags Fright Fest at Magic Mountain credit for, it was like a mouthful, is that their makeup and costumes are like phenomenal.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
These cool like projections on the city
So
building,
the next haunt
which had
is one of their newer haunts.
Essentially looked like
think it was new this
Diablo,
year.
like he was blowing fire, and then when
No,
you
I
would do
don't
it,
think
that
it
actual
was.
fire come.
I don't think
from,
any of them were new this year.
you know, come from the roof of the building.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
I mean, it wasn't like
Anyways,
the most amazing thing
it's
ever,
one
but
of their
I just
newer ones, I guess.
if
called
you
Red's
there's-
Revenge.
you know, if you like Suicide
Synopsis
Squad, or
is
you
over
like
the
the
hill and
characters,
through the woods to grandmother's
and
house.
whatever. I thought, you know, there's no other real opportunity
For me,
to have this
other than Willoughby's
experience to like
resurrect
and
it.
So you know, with that,
This house
I mean,
probably
that was one of the
my
things I was
favorite
most
out
looking
of
forward
all of
to.
them.
And I was not disappointed by it.
I don't know,
think
maybe
it would have worked
Willoughby's
as like
was
a
my
maze.
favorite, now that I think about it, and this was probably second.
So I
take
get what you're
back
saying.
my
It doesn't belong in
previous
Fright Fest, but
was
I
probably
don't.
my second favorite,
I guess they didn't
and
really
Willoughby's was my
know
first.
how else to present it.
I loved the beginning.
You know, because I don't
which I
think it
won't give
works as like a
away.
regular
It does cause
thing,
a longer wait
like
time.
not.
So
You know,
I
for the
definitely
general
suggest
public that
hitting up
doesn't want
this
things
house.
that may be darker.
Well, the next three that we're talking about,
you know,
I would hit up
you
those
know,
three
like-
first.
And Suicide Squad,
they're all
you know,
like right by them.
I mean,
by
they
each
could
other.
just do it normally, and I'm sure no one would
I
care.
love the
but
interactive.
maybe that's just how they were
kind
kinda introducing
was blown
the
away with the
idea
set
of-
design
of doing something like this.
and the creature designs. And
I believe this was only at Magic Mountain.
I
I
loved
don't
it.
think they
The
have it at
only
any other
thing
Six Flags.
that didn't work is they didn't have the best
So-
scare actors.
So that's what I'd say about that. If you,
So that kind of,
I mean, I kind of think
you know,
if you want to, I think it's worth
away
going
from
to if
the
you're a Suicide
experience
fan.
not being really
Yeah,
scared.
Suicide Squad fan. Indeed.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I'm scrolling through all these scare zones that you're listing, and I have like no memory of any of these except for one.
Yes.
A scare cone. It's like an ice cream scare cone.
Yeah, they had a interactive ending. Like, they did everything right. And I know we both saw the same thing, and this is something I would definitely
To me, it kind of seemed like
Six Flags.
I thought it was just part of the
Magic
haunt.
Mountain Fright Fest. This is something I would suggest Magic Mountain not do during their Fright Fest. Is if you're going to have a change out of characters, make sure that the audience or the guests walking through the house do not see that. We both
I don't even know
saw
what this was.
somebody just kind of chilling, drinking out of a cup, like in costume, and it completely takes you out of the entire experience to see that. So, just a word of thought. I don't know if I did. Probably not. I did in another haunted attraction that we will talk about.
Okay, yeah, no, that wasn't bad. So zombie crossing? Don't know.
Spoiler-free.
I don't remember that.
I think it's probably their best designed out of all of them, and I think for Six Flags Fright, oh my god, I think for Magic Mountain Fright Fest, I think this is a really good starter haunt to go to.
He was hanging by his
if you're
legs
not
from a tree
really
and with his
familiar with
his
haunts
blood
or
dripping out of his
feel
mouth.
comfortable going to some of Halloween Horror Nights or even Knott's. I think that Magic Mountain is a good starting point.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, this was Alice in Wonderland. I don't know why they called it Nightmares: A Twisted Fantasy. They could have.
Oh
clearly,
yeah,
they
no.
could
I
have
think the
decided to
next.
work with the Alice in
I
Wonderland.
think with Willoughby's
But,
and the
yeah,
next
I hung out there for a
couple that we
little
talked
while. I
about,
thought it
think
was a
those
lot
are
of
good
fun. The
starter
characters
homes.
were very interactive. They're all just kind of. It was a black lit area,
Starter
black
haunt
light area as well. So everything looked just really
Oh, sorry.
surreal
next one
and
is
psychedelic and creepy.
Vault 666, and the synopsis.
it was
is,
fun.
If you dare to
I hung
enter,
out there for
be
a
aware
while.
of your surroundings.
In fact, I was
at
going to say
all
this is the
times.
only scare zone I
Unknown
remember.
animal-like screams have been heard deep within.
So
the
definitely a
unsecured
must-do for
vault.
Creepy Kingdom fans if you end up going to this event. So, I think that's about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like a chemical plant or some type of plant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I want to kind of
mean,
elaborate on that, on what you
other
said
than
about
the
who
really
designs
annoying
them.
people that we had behind
That
us
was
that
one thing I
yelled
thought
at.
was kind of
It was a
odd, is
really
that
good
there was
maze.
no cohesiveness to the haunts. They seemed as though they were not part of a big event, like they were individual attractions.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but when I screamed at them, they took it. They backed off. So
They all have different types of
my
signs.
suggestion, or something to note
like you would just,
about
there's nothing
Magic
there's nothing
Mountain
tying
Fright Fest,
any of
and I
these together.
think
Not even just themes,
Six
just
Flags in
the way they're
general,
presented.
is you're going
like,
to
it really,
get a
and
large
when you're inside,
population of
it just really,
preteens,
I just truly believe that
teens, just
each house was
annoying
just an
age
independent
bracket.
group that they brought in.
Be prepared for that.
They're probably people that had their own attractions.
Turn around and be like.
In fact, I saw outside of Willoughby's Mansion, the person that brought you in was actually wearing a Willoughby's Mansion shirt. Which make it further proves my theory
you're not impressing anybody.
that
just stop.
This was an attraction that existed outside of Fright Fest that they brought in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing or a good thing, but just going to these theme park haunt
just
attractions.
Don't be that person.
There is something that you
there's no reason for it, and it
feel kind of is cohesive about all, even though they're different themes.
You're doing this.
You feel like you could tell the same team
you're probably really annoying them.
Did these.
No, but they will when they get yelled at. Anyway, so the next and final haunt was the Toys of Terror 3D. And the synopsis of this was, this defunct toy factory is now haunted by a chilling turn of events that took place when the admired inventor went psychotic, adding demented spirits to his beloved
You think
toys.
It's pretty good.
I notoriously am not a fan of 3D haunted houses. I don't understand them. I don't
what are we leaving people with? There's things that we liked.
Really stupid.
So if you were consider going, I would say go to check those things out, right?
I didn't mind this one too much. It was okay. I really hope this fad of 3D haunted houses dies soon because it's just stupid. I'm a haunt connoisseur, so don't listen to James.
Sure. Alrighty. Well, thank you. And we'll be back to talk about some more haunts. Places. It was kind of like being in like a crazy toy factory. And I thought the 3D was pretty cool. I thought it worked really well.
It wasn't as bad as some that I have been in. And it was enjoyable. And isn't that what it's all about?
Wow, you sound really convincing. It's like you have a gun to your head. It was enjoyable. Isn't that what it's all about?
It was, I enjoyed going through it.
Right.
I just don't like 3D haunted houses. I think that they're stupid, and I like to go through quality haunts, and I just think that they're...
most 3D houses don't have much going on in it. Like as far as props and all that stuff, and I felt like this house really did. I thought it had a lot of things in it, and I just thought it was like this at being in a toy factory gone wrong with all these toys turning evil, and like I thought it was fun. Like
I mean, toy plants and toy stores and stuff like that are a common theme throughout a lot of haunts. In the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I enjoyed going through it. I thought it was fun. I think you guys will like it. I hate this fad.
I mean, I don't know if it's a fad, but I don't think because a fad means that it's going away, and I just don't think it's going away.
I'm making it a fad.
No,
it's going away.
It's here to stay. I don't think I've done too many 3D houses.
I have.
I feel like unless I'm forgetting something, I feel the only one I've done was This Is the End at Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood last year. I don't think I did any other ones. I would have done them with you. So
I've done more than I care to admit, and very rarely am I ever blown away. I think the last time was probably last year during the Haunted Stadium. I really liked...
Oh, there was a 3D house there?
Yeah, I really liked that one. It was probably the best 3D haunted house I went through.
Which one was it?
It was the first one we went through. It was kind of like in a swamp.
I really don't remember this. But anyways, we can move on since we're not reviewing that.
Anyways.
You can tell how much of an impression that left on me. But yeah, let's talk about scare zones. Now,
let's talk about it.
And let's clarify scare zones, too, a little bit. A lot of people, you hear the term scare zone, and you think I thought there was only scares in the haunted houses.
No.
Do I get a break? But the thing is, it's mostly just like a really immersive area to walk through. I don't think it's, unless you're if you're walking around oh my God, I'm so scared. Then, the actors are going to come up and mess with you.
Yeah.
But it's not like everything's calm and everything's quiet and no one's around and you're just walking and then someone jumps out behind a trash can.
Right.
No, it's a really highly decorated, immersive environment set to a particular theme.
Yes.
So let's get into it.
Sure. So the first one was Suicide Squad, based off of, the Warner Brothers motion picture that just came out this past summer.
So this was in, I assume, what is normally a DC-themed area of the theme park, which that amongst itself looked pretty cool, I thought. The last time I went to a Six Flags was in Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey, and they didn't necessarily have like one area of the DC rides like this. They were all kind of spread out, and and it looked like there was a little bit of like a street. It seemed like it looked pretty cool as like an area.
I've been thinking about the Scare Zone a lot lately, and I will say that, again, makeup and costume wise, it was incredible. I was super impressed. But at the end of the day, when I really think about it, I'm like, why did you have a Suicide Squad Scare Zone? Because typically a scare zone is supposed to be scary. Hence a scare zone.
Well, here's my thoughts on it. They had, I guess in Suicide Squad, they had these weird creatures that the evil enchantress, I don't remember her name, was creating from her head, so I don't know what it was. They had those things kind of lurking around as kind of scare actors, and they were, jumping people around.
They were there. It was just kind of like.
But here's the we didn't even explain what was actually there, because so they had the characters there to meet, and essentially it's a big meet and greet area is really what it is. They had the Joker.
Yeah, the Joker.
Which the actor playing the Joker is doing Jared Leto's Joker was pretty spot on.
Yeah, spot on. It was incredible.
And spoiler alert, they did have Harley Quinn there.
Yes, she was there.
And she looked exactly like
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, and she sounded like her, which is just doing a fake New York accent. But
they had Killer Croc.
They had Killer Croc and Katana.
Katana, yep.
Yeah. And that was the only characters that they didn't have like Will Smith or anyone that really had like a clear face.
Right.
Meeting Harley Quinn was pretty exciting, and I felt like it was just like meeting the Harley Quinn from the movie.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with the Scare Zone was the amount of people that were there. Pretty much trampling over other people to get pictures with, the actors.
Yes, I remember I went back without you towards the end of the night, and there was like nobody there, so I had the two different experiences.
Yeah,
and also they had these cool like projections on the city building, which had essentially looked like Diablo. Like he was blowing fire, and then when he would do it, that actual fire come from the roof of the building.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the most amazing thing ever, but if you like Suicide Squad or you like the characters and whatever, and I thought there's no other really opportunity to have this experience to like, and so with that, that was one of the things I was most looking forward to. And I was not disappointed by it. I don't think it would have worked as like a maze.
No, definitely not. No.
So I get what you're saying. It doesn't belong in Fright Fest, but I guess they didn't really know how else to present it.
Yeah, it just kind of.
Because I don't think it works as like a regular thing. Like not. For the general public that doesn't want things that may be darker or.
Yeah, that's true.
And Suicide Squad, they could just do it normally, and I'm sure no one would care. But maybe that's just how they were kind of introducing the idea of doing something like this.
Yeah.
And I believe this was only at Magic Mountain. I don't think they have it at any other Six Flags.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it being at any other.
So that's what I would say about that. If you, I mean, I kind of think if you want to, I think it's worth going to if you're a Suicide Squad fan.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is cool to see the characters, especially how the characters looked, just like the characters from the movie.
Indeed. So I'm scrolling through all these scare zones that you're listing, and I have like no memory of any of these except for one.
Yeah, there's there's a scare cone. Sorry, scare
cone.
Yeah,
it's like an ice cream scare cone.
The Ruins, which was located by Aftermath 2, and there was like zombie like people walking around. It wasn't really, nothing really special to talk about.
To me, it kind of seemed like. I thought it was just part of the haunt.
Yeah, it did seem like it was part of the haunt, but we didn't get to spend too much time there outside of Aftermath 2, so, maybe there was more to be seen. I don't know. There's another scare zone called Terror Tory Twisted. I did not go to this scare zone.
Yeah, I don't even know where this was.
But I guess it was steampunk.
Oh.
So I'm pretty much on board with anything that's steampunk, so... if any of you go out and check that one out, please let us know because I would love to see pictures. The only one that I remember, pretty clear is Demon's Door, which is right when you enter Fright Fest. And it's just creatures running around, running after innocent people, just standing about. There's monsters on stilts and, there's black light, fluorescent colors and all that. The makeup and costumes were incredible. And I really enjoyed being in this area. I definitely liked people watching.
Okay, yeah, that wasn't bad. So
there was
Zombie Crossing?
There was Zombie Crossing.
Don't know.
We didn't see that scare zone. Exile Hill was at the top of Magic Mountain, and it was by Willoughby's. We actually saw like this cool guy in the tree. Yeah.
Okay.
He was incredible. So whoever that scare actor in the tree is, good job.
He was hanging by his legs from a tree and with his blood dripping out of his mouth.
Yeah. And I didn't go to this one, but James did, which was Nightmares: A Twisted Fantasy, and he had some good interactions.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, this was Alice in Wonderland. I don't know why they called it Nightmares: A Twisted Fantasy. They could have tied it more with Alice in Wonderland. But yeah, I hung out there for a little while. I thought it was a lot of fun. The characters were very interactive. They're all just kind of, and it was a black light area as well. So everything looked just really surreal and psychedelic and creepy, and it was fun. I hung out there for a while. In fact, I was going to say, this is the only scare zone I remember.
Yeah.
So definitely a must-do for Creepy Kingdom fans if you end up going to this event. So I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, I think that was it. I mean, overall, I think that Fright Fest at Magic Mountain is really... they're getting there, and I know that they're trying, and they have some incredible, talent there. I mean, their actors are great, their makeup is great, their costumes are great. I'm not sure who designs the haunts. I don't know if it's separate people designing them. I don't know if it's one team that designs them, but I think it just needs to be a little bit more cohesive, and, there's definitely some areas that really need to be worked on, but it's something that I look forward to attending again each year to kind of see how it grows.
Yeah, I want to kind of elaborate on that, on what you said about who designs them. That was one thing I thought was kind of odd, is that there was no cohesiveness to the haunts. They seemed as though they were not part of a big event, like they were individual attractions.
Yeah. It was very weird. You would see like Willoughby's Resurrected, which is this gorgeous set design on the exterior, and then you would see Willoughby's Garden, which is like nothing. And then, you go to Red's Revenge, which is designed beautifully. And then, it looks like there's different.
They all have different types of signs.
Yeah.
Like you would there's nothing tying any of these together. Not even just theme, just the way they're presented.
Yeah.
Like it really, and when you're inside, it just really, I just truly believe that each house was just an independent group that they brought in. They're probably people that had their own attractions. In fact, I saw outside of Willoughby's Mansion, the person that brought you in was actually wearing a Willoughby's Mansion shirt.
Right.
Which further proves my theory that this was an attraction that existed outside of Fright Fest that they brought in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing or a good thing, but just going to these theme park haunt attractions, there is something that you feel kind of is cohesive about all, even though they're different themes.
Yeah,
you feel like you could tell the same team.
Yeah, and I think they need a creative director to kind of run the ship. Even if they have other people coming in, there has to be some cohesiveness. Right. So that's my thoughts on Magic Mountain Fright Fest.
So, like you said, yeah, you think it's pretty good. I'm trying to think what are we leaving people with? There's things that we liked. So if you were consider going, I would say go to check those things out.
Yeah,
right?
Go and check them out, especially if you're new to haunted attractions. Definitely check it out. It's a really good place to kind of start. And, it does have something for everybody. So even though we may not have liked Willoughby's Garden, it may work for somebody else.
Sure.
So.
Alrighty. Well, thank you.
No problem.
And we'll be back to talk about some more haunts.